My name is Debbie and this is Pouring My Art Out for the Lord. And this is another continuation of my quick mass makes, my quick neutral mass makes. And today we're going to make clusters. So I've used a couple of the clusters that I've made previously on this little booklet, which is also going to be a mass make coming up. A little pad of paper, but I have a cluster there, a cluster there, and a cluster there. I think that's it on here. So I'm going to show you how to make them. I kind of got inspiration from this from Corey Dahman. She's like the cluster queen. And what I did is I took my scraps of my bin of scraps, and I was mostly working at that time. This was a couple of weeks ago, in just neutral colors as well. So I would just, and I'll show you how to do it step by step in a minute, but I just get 3 pieces of sort of vertical scraps. Sometimes I tear it, sometimes I don't, varying widths, a little bit of overlapping here and there. So just 3 scraps. This one's a little bit more square, and I usually am watching a video or editing a video usually while I'm doing this, and it's just sort of a little bit of a mindless thing, and as you can see, you can get quite a few in just a few minutes. Well, in some minutes anyways. So then, after I get to that point, then I have a little bowl of just scraps of lace beside my sewing machine. And I just take my little clusters and I run them through the sewing machine, and I add a little scrap of lace, just whatever I'm feeling at the moment. I add a little scrap of lace, I zigzag through the cluster and through the lace. When I'm gluing these, I just put usually a little bit of liquid glue. I don't like them super stiff, so I just put, a few dots of glue to stick them together, and then here I would stitch through pretty much every layer, and I would just add little bits of lace, different kinds of lace. This is just a different kind of a little piece of fabric. This one has, well, that was part of the cluster. That one just has some kind of handmade paper there. And again, you can just make dozens and dozens of them very quickly. I had black thread in my machine at one point. Just a little scrap of fabric, lace, whatever you like there. And then I like to keep these just like this, some of them just like this, because then I can decorate them in different ways that I want to. And I'm going to show you how to get to this point, and then I'm going to show you how I would take some other elements. I usually add about 3 more elements, so then it's 7 altogether. So 3 strips, the lace is number 4, and then 3 elements. So a ticket, some sort of focal point or fussy cut, and a word. So again, I have my 3 layers. This one, I covered most of it up, but there's a little scrap of lace there. There's a label, a word, and a focal point, fussy cut. And where's this one here? So I have the 3 pieces back there stitched on this piece of lace. There's my label and a fussy cut, and this one, because it had a very bold word on the label, I used that as my label and my word. I didn't want to put another word. I didn't think that would look good on top of there, so that's what I did for that. But I'll show you my process with those. So first I'm just going to show you how to make this part. Pile of some neutral scraps that I just grabbed straight out of my little scrap box, and I just want to do mainly neutrals. Sometimes it's nice to have a bit of black, sometimes it's nice to have darker colors. That's a darker brown, some lighter brown there. Here's one with a bit of red. Sometimes I like to add a little bit of red. Different textures. This is a book page with napkin applique on it. Here's a doily. Here's a piece of a paper bag that I cut out, some book page. This was just a little offcut of some parchment cardstock, lightweight cardstock. A little bit of digitals here and there. So lots of just different random pieces. So generally what I do is if they're already like this, I'll use them straight. If they're, you know, already like this, I will probably just rip the edge. If they have a little bit of rough edge like that shown, I will usually ink around the edges. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. You can add a little bit of ink afterwards as well, so don't fret about it if you don't want to do it. So you kind of want 3 pieces there, like I was saying. Just gonna rip a little piece of this dark brown and stick that there, and then that can be a cluster. So this is a little bit maybe not as neutral as some of my other ones, so just put a couple of dots of glue. You don't want them to line up, so this one is coming off the top. This one I'll put, you want them overlapping, but you don't want them lining up. So I'm just going to kind of overlap that one there. Oops. But not line up the bottom and not line up the top. That one really doesn't want to stay on there. So nothing is lined up at the top. The 3 tops are staggered, the 3 bottoms are staggered, the 3 sides are staggered, but they are overlapped. So then this is a finished base cluster. Here's one that has a white margin on it. So I'll cut a little piece of this. Sometimes I make smaller ones, sometimes bigger ones. You want a little bit of, you know, all kinds of different stuff. So, and let's have, there was a little piece of, this is a digital, but it's a music page digital. So you can have a little bit wider piece, a little bit narrower piece. I like that. And maybe this one, I'll just put a little bit of black as well. So I kind of lay them out, see what if I kind of like how it looks. But really I'm usually, like I said, editing my videos or something at the same time. So I'm not paying a whole lot of attention to what I'm doing because they just seem to turn out no matter what. Just do that one here. And there's another one, just super, super simple. So I'll just do a couple more and then we'll do the next step. Sometimes I like to cut some strips too, just to have a little bit more of a straight edge. Okay, I think that's enough for now. They really are kind of addicting once you kind of get going on your scraps. And I usually take out a little pile of scraps and then I work until that pile is done, and then I don't do it again for a little bit. But here's what we got. So these ones are quite similar. These ones are a little bit different that we made at the beginning. So now I'm going to take my scrap of laces. So here's just a little pile of some lace that I have, little bits and pieces. Some of them are really tiny, some of them are a little bit bigger pieces that I just cut off. And then what I usually do is I'll grab my container here and I'll add these to the top here because we're going to add lace to those ones. So I'll put all of those in there. And then I'll just add a handful of scraps of lace here. Then I'll go to my sewing machine and I'll just sew a little piece of lace on each one and just make a big long chain like I did with these ones. So I don't have a camera by my sewing machine, so I'm going to go sew. and then I'll come back and show you my chain. So I timed myself and I worked at the sewing machine for 7 minutes and I got 28 clusters done. So they go very, very quickly. They don't look like much yet, but once you add a few little decorations and things, they look pretty neat. And yeah, it's just a great scrap buster. So I just gathered a few things here. And my little formula for these things is generally I will do a bit of a label. And the label is, I can have writing and stuff on it, but it's not a super strong focal point. And then a word, and these words are actually from my Labels Galore kit, but because they are definitely a focal word, they this acts as the word, this acts as the label, if that makes sense. And then I just had some random fussy cuts of different things. This one had a butterfly. So then I just take my cluster and I will usually put the label on the bottom layer. You can put it right side up if you like, you don't have to. Stick it there. These ones are not sewn on, so I will put a bit of glue on them. I don't want a ton of glue on here either because I just don't like that real stiff. And this one is going to probably need a little bit of help because it's this part is right on the lace. So maybe I'll grab my fabric glue after and just dab it a little bit. But see, you just start with a couple of scraps. It doesn't look like much. This one you can barely see the lace actually even anymore. But there's the label and the word and the fussy cut. So that one is done. This one here is just a nice little one. So I have, again, this is one of my from my Labels Galore kit. It's all faith labels. There's 20 pages of faith labels, different colors, sizes, shapes. This one is just a small little Simply Blessed in pink. And here's a label that, these labels are all from the Junk Journal Studio. I think all of them are. I love, love, love her labels. They're just great kind of accents on anything and great for this, for the background label as well. So, and I'll just decide how I want to put this. I have a fussy cut here. And just something like that. I'd like to say you can't really put it together wrong, but you know, just kind of play with it, overlap things. Overlapping is an important part of making a good cluster. Vary the height and the bottom and the sides. So there's another one, Simply Blessed. I'll just do a couple of more to show you here. Here's Faith Can Move Mountains, again from my Labels Galore, and another label from the Junk Journal Studio, and a fussy cut. So this one, I think it goes in that direction. I probably should have had my fabric glue out for this because of the lace. It's not going to stick very well here, but I'll touch it up afterwards. So let's see, how am I going to get this bird in here? Maybe something like that. So that one's going to need a bit of fabric glue as well. But There's a nice larger one. That would be a great accent on a page. If you just look at a journal page, it just adds something instantly. Some of the pages that are already decorated. This probably isn't exactly the right color for there. This one would probably fit with the color scheme better. But they just really accent a page well. They're great for pockets. If you have some clusters in your stash, you can decorate many things very quickly. So again, another Jesus Best Gift Ever from My Labels Galore, another label from the Junk Journal Studio. And here's a cluster. Sometimes you can put them vertical. They don't always have to be horizontal. How did I want this one? Yeah, maybe something like that. And I give a little bit of an ink to these top layers because they're a little bit more, you know, noticeable on the top. The background I don't as much. On here I probably would, when I was putting it in my journal page, I would probably give a little bit of an ink, you know, wherever the edges look kind of white to me. But there's another one. And I'll just do one more here. Again, a label from the Junk Journal Studio. Saved by His Amazing Grace. That's from My Labels Galore. The fussy cuts are from various places. I've just cut out here and there, so I don't even quite remember where they all come from. So let me see, what do I want here? I think I want this a little bit more in the middle. Something like that. If it has writing, you know, try to put it maybe at least not completely upside down. Sideways is fine, and up and down. Sideways, up and down, or right side up. But if you put it completely upside down, it will probably look a little bit strange. But and again, just overlap things. And there's another little cluster. And I just, when I was looking for my labels, I actually came across a little tin. That's some that I had made previously. So I thought I would just show these to you. These ones I put on a little page tab, so we can put them on the edge of a journal page. And they'll just go on to, glue onto a page just like that. And then they're two-sided. So that really dresses up a page too. And some of these are just clusters as well. These again have My Labels Galore and just different little bits of things on them. These ones I put like some just little bits. That's a burlap ribbon, and this is a little piece of a trim, but basically the same sort of thing. This one has a little sparkle of gold on it. These are all made with My Labels Galore kit as well. This one has a little bit of bling. So they're just fun. They're fun, and they're really nice to have in your stash because you can just stick them on anything. So there you go. So go get out your scrap bin and make some clusters and have a lot of fun and use up some scraps, and then you can be ready for the next journal. You'll have things all ready to put on. So thanks for watching. I hope that it was inspiring for you. Blessings. We'll see you in the next video.